And now we say good morning to Reverend Blair Tabor with his music, his message, and his meditation for us. Thank you.
Well, good morning again. This is a song called Can You See Your Soul Light Shining? Can you see your soul light shining? Can you feel your love grow strong? You're a part of the joy arising. You're a part of the sacred song. And you are the holy child. Yes, God's precious one. Live from the sacred fire, the spirit that makes us one. There's a question in your mind. You want to know what life's about. It's time to step into the circle. The truth will shine beyond all doubt. That you are the holy child. Yes, God's precious one. Live from the sacred fire, the spirit that makes us one. No more doubt and no more rambling, for the Christ speaks from within. The heaven's gate is standing open and beckons you to walk right in. 'Cause you are the holy child. Yes, God's precious one. Live from the sacred fire, the spirit that makes us one. You are the holy child. Yes, God's precious one. Live from the sacred fire, the spirit that makes us one. The spirit makes us one. The spirit makes us one. Well, a woman told a story. She was in a car accident and was badly injured. And after the accident, she felt her spirit rising up out of her body, and she could see the whole scene. She could see the car, she could see her injured body, and she could see the cars behind her. And she could feel the energy, the people, the four cars behind her, the people that were mad because their day was interrupted. They're going to be late to what they were doing. But in the fifth car back, what she saw was arcs of light going out to her car and where her body was. And she thought to herself, that person's praying for me. And in that state, she could see the license plate number from that car. And later on, after she got better and was out of the hospital, she looked up the license plate number, found the person, and confirmed that indeed that person had been praying for her during that time. So just think about what that means. That means that when we're praying, when we're connected in a consciousness of our oneness with God, there's energy that flows from us, an energy of blessing that flows for us, but also flows as a blessing for others. And so many times we're waiting for the right conditions. You know, if this would change, if she would change, if things were better, if I'd only done this. But we don't have to do that. When we live that way, what I say is we're waiting in the murky shallows of human limitation. And that's not what we want. We want to live out of that fullness. And so the time for waiting is over. It's time to believe that we are created as a part of the Christ energy in order to express that Christ vibration in the world. Jesus says, you are the light of the world. Let your light shine. So now is the time for us to connect in a more deep way with that Christ energy and radiate it in our world. And so here's the core idea that I'd like you to get, is that we are created as a part of that Christ energy to express its vibration in the world. So there's three parts for this to work for us. The first part is to release, to resonate, and then finally to radiate. So let's look at releasing first, releasing into the Christ energy. I love the song that Julie and Jackie did earlier in the service. It's about recognizing that we're already present in this presence. We say that there's only one presence and one power in the universe. It's our first unity principle. But we don't always remember that. We don't always act like that's true for us. And so there's an opportunity for us to really release into a deeper sense of that connection that we have working in our lives. There's a wonderful scripture from the Hebrew scriptures in Deuteronomy chapter 33:27. The usual translation is, "The eternal God is your dwelling place, and underneath are the everlasting arms." I love that image of the presence of God that's there for us. But that word that's translated eternal, the eternal God is your dwelling place, eternal could also be translated as right before you. And so if we could have that sense that eternalness of God is right before us, it's right here. It's right here for us right now. And to release into that, let go into that presence and feel that it's there. Sometimes we'll look at life and say, oh, well, this is dissolving. And it's only dissolving so that something else can resolve in a new way. And so part of our work is to let go of who we think we are and recognize that what we are is really something much more. We're the light of the world, as Jesus said. In quantum physics, there's a term they call quantum superposition. It's talking about a particle. And they say before it's identified in a certain place, a certain time, with a certain speed, it's in what's called a superposition, which means it could be anything. It could express positively, negatively. It could express in any way. It's that pure potential. And it's only when we measure it in some way, when we decide what we think it is, that it collapses into one thing. So we can apply this metaphysically, that in our lives, with God, all things are possible, but we decide, oh no, this is going to be hard. And so it collapses into it's going to be hard. And we decide, oh no, she's going to be a problem. Then it collapses into all our perception will see is that she's going to be a problem. So stepping back, stepping into that larger framework, that larger allness, that superposition, we can see that we're a part of this living presence that we call God. We're part of the Christ light. We're part of the love. We're part of the joy. We're part of all those gifts. And so as we step into that, let go into that, release into that, something greater is able to happen in our lives. Many times we think that we're going to fix a problem, or I'd like to fix that person. Well, if you have a pet and you fix them, what you do is you neuter them, right? And so if we want to make sure that we're not collapsing things into something less than what they really are in a greater way. There's a wonderful phrase that I always try to remember. It's, God opens a way where to human sense there is no way. So think about something in your life where you think, well, there's no way that's going to work. And say, well, with God, all things are possible. God can open a way where to our human sense, nothing is there. Nothing can work. In my early time in Unity, way before I was a minister, Meredith and I attended the Unity Church in Houston, Texas. And we've been going probably about 4 or 5 months and really enjoying it. But sort of on the side, I was invited to do music for a wedding reception. And so I had a piano player, I hired him, and I played guitar and sax, and he played piano. We did the reception. At the end of the reception, the bride's family gave me a check that was going to cover for me and for the piano player. So when I got home, I started looking for the check. I couldn't find it. I looked in my guitar case, looked in my saxophone case, could not find the check. It wasn't in my pocket, wasn't in my wallet, wasn't anywhere. And so I started to get concerned and upset, really, because I had to pay the piano player, and here I didn't have the check. And so I was worried about it, and I was stewing about it. And finally, my wife Meredith said, why don't you use that Unity stuff? And so I thought, okay, what does that mean? I thought, well, first of all, connect with God. Realize that I'm not in limitation. I'm connected with the allness of God. And the check is somewhere, obviously. So I just need to let go and let the mind of God show me where it is. And so I did a lot of prayer work in the next couple 10 minutes, just letting go, knowing that God would show me. And finally I said, okay, it's time to go to bed. So I went to bed, and that night I had three separate dreams that showed me where that check was. And so I went back the next day to the venue because it said that there was on the stage, there was a curtain on the side. And when you would open the curtain to turn the light switch on and off, my dreams told me that's where the check was. So I went in, pulled the curtain back. There was the check, right where the dreams had shown. So when I let go of my concern and my fears and my frustration at myself, there was the answer because we're connected with that mind that's there. And so if we can clear the limiting thoughts and open to the mind of God, then those divine ideas that are ever present can always work in our lives. And so this clarity that we have, some people say, well, it's just a spiritual bypass. You're not really connecting with what's real. And I said, no, it's being clear in that presence of God. When I was at the Unity Church in Merced, I served there for 5.5 years. Every month I got a call from a woman. And she would go on and on and on and on about her problems. And you imagine I'm on the phone, and as she would talk, I would just sort of wilt into the chair because it was just so much. She'd just go on and on. And she didn't listen to me. She didn't want my advice. She just wanted to complain. And so this happened every month, gone on for a while. And so one morning I'm in prayer, knowing that her call is going to come. I was expecting it sometime that week. And I said to God, what do I do? How do I help this person? And the answer I got from God was, you can't help her. I can. So Spirit said, give up trying to help her. When she calls, just imagine that my energy is pouring through you. You're just a conduit. My energy is pouring through you, through the phone, through the line, and connecting to her. So I thought, okay, God, I can do it. So that afternoon, guess who called? Yes, she called. And so she's calling, I'm listening to her, and I'm starting to get into this wilting experience. And when I remembered what I'd heard from God in the morning. And so I just imagined that energy of God passing through the phone, passing to her. And about 3 minutes later, she said, oh, I feel so much better. Goodbye. And she hung up. And so it was just a whole different experience because it wasn't about me. It was about remembering the presence of God. And so we'll take some more time in meditation to do this, but just take a moment right now just to imagine that you're releasing into that presence of God, releasing into peace, releasing into wholeness, releasing who you think you are, and to just be with that presence of God. So this is the first step of this process. It's not about addressing the problem or trying to fix anything. It's about letting go into God. So that's release. The second R then is to resonate with this Christ energy, and to recognize that as we let go into that Christ energy, we can let what it is work in us in a greater way. And so I invite you to think about an area in your life where you want to apply this Christ energy. Could be for your body, could be a relationship, could be a job, whatever it is, but think of one, or let Spirit bring it to your mind, and become aware that there's this potential of energy, this current of energy that is the Christ, that we're all a part of. It resonates in every one of us. And it's there for us just to feel that we're moving with it in a greater way. Have you ever seen somebody ring one of those singing bowls, and as it's ringing, they put their face into it? And it's about connecting with that energy that's vibrating there. And if you think about the most ancient symbol that humans have for God is a circle with a dot in the middle. And so just think of that energy that is God just radiating into your life, and you're resonating with that vibration of God in your life. I found this phrase a couple weeks ago. It says, a fireplace will not give warmth until I give it fuel. And so think about that. If we want to have that energy of God, we have to make sure that we're connecting with that space, connecting with that energy that is God in the midst of our lives. So here's an affirmation I invite you to work with. Centered in God, I vibrate fully and freely as the Christ energy. So let's break it down, because there's a lot of words, it seems like, at the beginning. So centered in God, that's where it starts. Ready? Centered in God. Say that with me. Centered in God. That's releasing into God. I vibrate fully and freely. Let's say that. I vibrate fully and freely. Let's say it again. I vibrate fully and freely as the Christ energy. As the Christ energy. So I vibrate fully and freely as the Christ energy. Let's say all that. I vibrate fully and freely as the Christ energy. So then we back up. Centered in God, I vibrate fully and freely as the Christ energy. Let's try it. Centered in God, I vibrate fully and freely as the Christ energy. So this is that resonation that I want us to feel. We release into that Christ energy and then we let it resonate in us. And as if we're connected with that. And so just feel that you're a part of that Christ energy vibrating as you, all around you, within everything in your life, that Christ energy is there ready to vibrate. So we release into it, we resonate with it, and then it's our job to radiate that Christ energy in our life. And here I found another phrase, I like this. It says, I cannot sit down in the meadow and wait for a cow to back up and give me milk. We've got to do something for ourselves. We've got to get up and do it. And I don't know if you're familiar with Emily Cady, the author of Lessons in Truth. It's one of our most important unity books. It's written in the 19th century, so the language is a little bit older than we're sometimes used to. But it's a powerful book. But she also wrote a companion book called How I Used Truth. And this describes how she came to the understanding of our unity principles in her life. And in the introduction, she talks about one of her experiences. And this was, she was a homeopathic physician in New York City. So imagine a female doctor in the homeopathic profession in the late 1800s, what her experience might have been. But she had this idea that God is the source of her supply, and she really wanted to trust that and live with that. So she decided she wasn't going to charge for her homeopathic services anymore. She just put a basket out and know that it would be taken care of. So she tried that for about 2 years and nearly starved because nobody was giving her very much. And so she was complaining to God, and she really got through the complaining. She said, all right, God, why isn't this working? And the answer she got from Spirit was, well, you've got the idea that I'm the source, but you haven't asked. You haven't asked for what it is that you want. And so she said, it is so. God is my source, manifesting now. And then things turned around for her in a great way. And so it's important for us to realize that we can say, oh, well, God is here, but we have to be the way that God is expressing. We're the channels through which that expresses in life. Remember, Jesus said, give and it will be given unto you. And really one of the ways he said it was, as you give, so shall you receive. And so as we give, if we're giving out of a sense of joy, out of a sense of expectancy, giving out of a sense of love, giving out of a sense of connectedness to Spirit, then that's what's going to be radiating in our lives. And that's what we're going to experience in our lives in a greater way. So think about that phrase of Jesus again. You are the light of the world. So bring your light, your radiation of that Christ energy to that area of life that you decided to work on. So if it's your body, feel that life of God radiating in your body. And if there's a particular place in your body that needs support, just think of that working in your body. This is, of course, how Myrtle Fillmore healed herself. That's why we're here as Unity, because she began to change from complaining about her body to thanking and blessing her body and became well. So sometimes we're stuck with our finances. So see, again, this presence of that Christ energy there. Release your sense of doubt. Release into that sense of allness. Resonate with that allness of God, and then see it working in your life, in your work. Sometimes we're challenged with a job. I had a boss once, they say that boss is double SOB backwards. And that was my experience until I changed my mind about it. And once I changed my mind about it, then I had a different experience in life. He got promoted to a better position, and the guy who had been my best friend of the department got promoted to supervisor. So it worked out for everybody. But again, it's changing the way that we see, the way that we experience, what we expect in our lives. Sometimes we have challenges in family. You know, we have a parent who's going through difficulties or a child who's not acting the way that we'd like to. And so, again, recognizing we're not here to fix them, we're here to behold the Christ in them. And so, your job is to release into that sense of infinite love, radiate with that love, and see that love not only alive in you, but see that love alive in them, and ask Spirit how your interaction with them can change in a way that'll be good for both of you. And again, what I like to do is rather than saying, what's the right thing to do, is what's the loving thing to do? What's the loving thing to do here? Because, you know, sometimes, the Course in Miracles has a line that said, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? And that's always been a helpful one for me. Because so many times, you know, I'm right, I know the facts, I know what happened and when it happened, and I want them to remember and do it right. But does that really gain us anything? Sometimes it's more loving just to let them tell their story. Because I always say you know, a good story does not depend on facts. It depends on having a good story. And so what's the loving thing to do? Is to release into that Christ energy, resonate with that Christ energy and radiate with it and let it guide you. Let it open the way for those blessings to pour forth in your life. Another way to think about it is that we want to disassemble the way that we're seeing life from a limited point of view and reassemble the energy in that Christ pattern. Because the current things aren't working, so let that go so that a new way can come forth. A new way can work. And what we have then are the outpouring of these Christ blessings in every moment. And so as you learn to practice this, you can do it real quick. I release my sense of resentment. I resonate with the Christ truth. I radiate a blessing to the people that are right here. And we can just do it that quickly and allow ourselves, first from our reaction of what's wrong, to really say, no, what's the truth? What's the truth? I'm one with God. I'm resonating with God. I'm living as that Christ energy in the life. And so I want you to know that I see you as that Christ energy. And I know that you can practice this very easily, releasing into the Christ, resonating with the Christ, radiating with the Christ right where you are. So bountiful blessings, my friends. And let's move into a time of meditation. I invite you to close your eyes. And we'll just practice this a bit. So with the breath, first of all, breathing in, and then make a noise as you breathe out. Go, ah. And breathing in, and then, ah. And once more, breathing in, and settle into not just a sense of your body, but settle into a sense of energy. That there's this radiant energy of God that is within you and around you in every moment. Jesus called it the kingdom of heaven. He says the kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of heaven is laid out for everyone to see. This presence that is the Christ. It's a radiance that permeates the whole visible universe, but more importantly, is an invisible presence that undergirds everything that is manifest as those underconnecting arms, everlasting arms that are there. And so we just release into that allness, release into that fullness, release into the light, release into the infinite love, release into the unending abundance, release into the joy. And then feel that resonance that we have with that allness. Resonate with that light, with that love, with that joy, with the peace, with the abundance, with life. Resonate with all that is the Christ. Feel it working in and through every part of you. Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. See every particle of your being, every cell resonating with this Christ energy, this Christ vibration. Almost as if the atoms of your being are dancing with this Christ energy. And release even deeper into this energy field so that you can resonate even more with it. If any resistance comes up in your mind or in your feelings, just breathe through it. Let it go. Feel the tingle of that Christ vibration. Not just a physical sense, but a spiritual sense of that vibrating energy of life, of God, of spirit. And as we have released into this Christ energy and are resonating with this Christ energy, now let's radiate this Christ energy into that part of our lives that we want to see blessed, that we want to see transformed, that we want to see lifted up. And we don't need to make it radiate. We don't need to make ourselves radiate. We just let ourselves radiate. Let ourselves be the light. Let ourselves be the love, the peace, the joy, the energy of wholeness. Just feel yourself radiate as that light. And we don't judge how long it takes to show up in the world. We stay focused on radiating, sending forth, living as that light, living as that love, living as that peace moment by moment. There's a British phrase that the truth will out. And so we just recognize that this truth of God, this truth of who and what we are, will reveal itself. Jesus said, if you pray in secret, that which is secret will be known abroad. So now I invite you to see this pattern. Think of a loved one or a friend. See their energy field releasing into that Christ energy. See them resonating with that Christ energy. And see them radiating that Christ energy to their world. And then see some situation in the world. There's so many to choose from. See yourself releasing your thoughts, your fears, your concerns into that allness of God, releasing into the Christ energy, and see that situation resonating with that Christ transforming energy and see that radiating then in new ways and blessing. And now let's take a moment just to really let go in a deeper way. We call it the silence. Is that, again, that recognizing that there's this presence that is God, that is life, that is love, that is joy, that is peace, that is the Christ energy. And we just want to connect with it in the deepest, clearest way. So I invite you to let go into that silence, release into the presence, in the silence. We are children of the universe. And it is our wonderful opportunity to remember that and to live as a part of that universe, that allness, so we can feel it, we can resonate with it, so we can be it in the world. I'll share one more song. I invite you to sing along. And the words are real simple. I embrace the world with the love of God. I see us all as radiant light. I embrace the world as the love of God. I see us all as radiant light. That's all there is. I embrace the world as the love of God. I see us all as radiant light. I embrace the world as the love of God. I see us all as radiant light. Let's sing it once more. I embrace the world as the love of God. I see us all as radiant light. I embrace the world. Blessings, my friends.